One of the things that's usually forgotten with the whole red, green, blue phase, or sometimes called red, green refactor process, is the step of actually taking a look at your test code and see if it can be better. And by better, we mean, is it optimized, much like you would optimize your production code? Maybe instead of cut and pasting 3 lines of code, you just make a method or a function that other things can call. Or do you also look to see how it can be clearer to read? So right now, while our tests are very small, we haven't really done too much with this particular application. We kind of want to nip any sort of these problems at the bud instead of letting them fester and create this nasty test code base that we no longer want to maintain. So one of the things you'll see is I've duplicated code here to basically create an instance of the view model, set the email address, and then validate whether it's true or false. And I've created 2 separate methods for this. This is pretty inefficient. And what we can do is we can use what's known as a test case in unit to where I can pass in different parameters. In this case, I'm going to pass in an email address as well as whether or not should pass Boolean. And now I'm going to set the email address to what was passed. And then I'm going to change my assert to r equal. And we want the expected to be first, which isn't overly obvious unless you're looking at the IntelliSense. And we're going to say vmut.email is valid. And then I'm going to get rid of this. And now I can go in here. And I can say ben at render.io, true. I can say Jeff at rex.tv. I can also maybe put in another bad case or 2. And now when we run this, we actually run 4 tests, but with just one test method, like so. And then the other thing we need to do is we need to make sure this is readable for other people coming in. So right now this whole given then structure doesn't work for our names. So I'm just going to go with something much easier. Test email is valid. And that should be clear enough to people. The other thing, I don't feel as though assert r equal is overly easy to read. We don't talk like this in real English. So one of the things I like to add is a NuGet package called should, and it makes for fluent style assertions. And if I add this NuGet package, what I can now say is bmut.email is valid should equal, and then when I come back in here, and I can say should pass. And now that's a bit cleaner and easier to read. And that is a real key thing with unit tests, is we don't want people to open up our unit tests and immediately sigh because they have no clue what is going on. So while it might take some extra time to write some of this stuff out, it'll make it much faster and easier for people to read. And reading is more important than writing. So this is how we can optimize and refactor our unit tests as we build them out.